The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
And our stock of the day is Paladin Energy. This after its Langer Heinrich mine in Namibia saw a 33% jump in quarterly production, but it has disappointed the market. It had cash and cash equivalents of $89 million, undrawn $50 million revolving debt facility at the end of the quarter. Also saw the commencement of mining and timing related working capital movements, the main contributors for the reduction of close to $39 million in cash in equivalents there for the June quarter. And look, the market unhappy with its miss on guidance there, essentially, in terms of production. Let's get some analysis then. And Andrew, call it Paladin or Paladin, whichever you choose, way you choose to pronounce it. Look, obviously, uranium has been incredibly volatile, that sector. How do you view then, and particularly this latest update?
Well, you could just call it PDN and then you don't have to worry about the pronunciation. And so I'm just going to chicken out and do that. Look, no great surprise the share price is under pressure today. A new CEO rebasing expectations as to guidance. So that's what they've done, and that's why the market's reacted the way that the market has. So certainly the outlook from that the mine in Namibia, can't even get countries right now. Certainly the market is pleased that that mine is now back on track. But again, because the guidance wasn't there relating to output, and to Andrew's point, that uranium price is all over the show at the moment. And again, it comes back to demand for uranium, demand for nuclear, tech, etc., etc. So certainly it's in the right space, but in the short term, and Henry and I have said this numerous times, whenever there's a change in management, you're always just cautious, because the new CEOs, the guys and the girls, this is what they do. They change personnel, they rebase expectations. And so you just let that settle for the first 12, 18 months, in my view. So it's a hold. No surprise to see the price under pressure, but could potentially be under a little bit more pressure in the short term as analysts recalibrate their their earnings in light of the guidance, but it's a hold.
Henry, what would you do, particularly in light of this latest update?
Well, I guess to some extent it was a little disappointing. It's got a massive short position in it. It's the biggest shorted stock in the market. 16.6% of the stock is shorted, 66 million shares shorted. So if you're a bear, you kind of seize upon any bad signs in these sort of production reports and just push, and you keep pushing, and they have pushed it. It's down 9%. Back down to $7.40, which in old money terms before the consolidation is 74 cents. So it's not expensive in that respect, because it has been, I think, well and truly double that at times. For me, the production report was okay. The guidance was okay. The interesting thing, I guess, was the price realized for their uranium, and that was somewhat lower than anticipated. And it was below the spot price. Now, my understanding has been that the spot price wings around a bit because it's quite illiquid, whereas the long-term contract price tends to be more stable, and it does tend to trade at a little bit of a premium. Now, clearly, this is not the case with Paladin at the moment, and as a result, the market is disappointed. I hold this in the small cap portfolio. This is back to where I bought it, I have to say. So the gains that I've made in it have evaporated before my little eyes this morning. But I don't mind it still. I think, if you're going to embrace nuclear, and I think that is the solution, we are going to have to embrace nuclear to fulfill the electricity and power supply issues surrounding data centers and the new electrification of the global environment. I think this one is going to start to look interesting again, because ultimately, if we see the uranium price kick higher, which I think it will in time, where do you go to? You go Boss, you go Deep Yellow, you go Paladin, and this one will have its day again. It is very much sentiment, and all the production issues and all the price realized will be forgotten as the rush to buy some sort of uranium exposure and squeeze those shorts will come back to the fore. So I'll wait a few days, see how it settles, see what the brokers say, but I think this is popping back up on my radar as a buy to give you that exposure to uranium. But just give it a day or so to let it settle, let things wash through, because it was a little disappointing on the realized price on their uranium. They talk about timing issues, and as Andrew says, it's always dangerous when a new CEO comes in, because they do try and talk things down so that they can get their company options at the lowest price possible, so they can maximize the return when they finally get those options vested. Is that cynical? Possibly. But yeah, give it a few days and then it's probably back on the radar to buy.
That is a buy from Henry and a hold from Andrew. That is our stock of the day, Paladin.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.